Good afternoon and welcome to Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Imam. Come to you live from the Akwa Ibom State Capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu appoints new PTDF boss, renews TCN MD's tenure. Inec discontinues recognition of David Mark-led ADC. In other news, Trump's administration lifts sanctions on Venezuela's interim leader. We'll bring the details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. First on the news at this hour is that President Bola Tinubu has appointed Professor Shaibu Shehu Aliyu as the new Executive Secretary of the Petroleum Technology Development Fund (PTDF), while also renewing the tenure of Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz as Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN). Both appointments, according to a statement issued today by the Special Advisor to the President, Bayo Onanuga, takes immediate effect. Professor Aliyu replaces Ahmed Galadima Aminu, who recently resigned his position to pursue his governorship ambition in Adamawa State ahead of the 2027 elections. The presidency described the new PTDF helmsman as a distinguished academic and a seasoned administrator with extensive experience in research, education, and institutional leadership, noting that his appointment reflects President Tinubu's commitment to strengthening critical institutions in the petroleum sector. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu will today visit Jos, the Plateau State capital, following the attack by gunmen that led to the killing of at least 28 people. The attack, which occurred on Sunday in Angwan Rukuba community, Jos North Leku government area, also left many others injured. Tinubu was originally scheduled to visit Ogun State. Instead, he would head to the North Central states to commiserate with the government and people of the state. Presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga disclosed this in a statement yesterday. Onanuga noted that the Commander-in-Chief would, from Plateau, travel to Lagos to observe Good Friday. In a related development, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Bernard Doro, has visited the Jos University Teaching Hospital, where survivors of Sunday night's attack in Angwan Rukuba are receiving treatment, assuring them of the federal government's full support. During the visit, the minister commiserated with victims and their families, expressing deep concern over the incident. He confirmed that 22 people sustained injuries and are currently undergoing treatment at the facility. They were urged residents of Plateau State to embrace peace and remain vigilant, stressing the need for unity in the face of rising security challenges. Away from that, the federal government has declared Friday, April 3rd and Monday, April 6th as public holidays to mark this year's Easter celebrations. This was disclosed in a statement by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalena Ajani, on behalf of the Minister Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. She said the minister congratulated Christians in Nigeria and the diaspora on the occasion, urging Nigerians to reflect on the virtues associated with the season. April 3rd is Good Friday, while April 6th is Easter Monday. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec) says it will henceforth cease to accept correspondences from either the David Mark-led African Democratic Congress faction or that of Rafiu Bala, following a review of the Court of Appeals judgment on March 12th this year. A statement signed by the Chairman, Information and Voter Education, Mohammed Kudu, also noted that the Commission will no longer engage with either factions nor monitor any meetings, congresses or conventions of the two groups until the matter at the Federal High Court is decided. The Commission further announced that it would remove the names of David Mark from the Inec portal. Rafi Bala, who was the vice chairman of the ADC before the David Mark-led Keta committee assumed control of the party, approached the courts to challenge the emergence of David Mark and his colleagues at the National Working Committee. In a related development, the African Democratic Congress ADC, led by Senator David Mark, has faulted the interpretation of a recent Court of Appeal ruling by the Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec) in the ongoing leadership dispute within the party. In a statement issued Wednesday evening, the party's National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi accused the electoral body of yielding to political pressure. He alleged that INEC's position was influenced by a government unsettled by the ADC's growing influence, despite what he described as sustained efforts to weaken opposition parties and impose a one-party system. Abdullahi further described INEC's statement as inconsistent, arguing that it contradicts both facts and logic. Now to Africa. South African soldiers moved into gang-ridden Cape Town townships yesterday, as 2 people were killed in fresh violence nearly 50 days after the president ordered the deployment. Troops in full combat gear and carrying assault rifles stepped from armored vehicles that arrived with sirens blaring in Mitchell's Plain, a neighborhood in the Cape Flats. The low-lying area nestled between tourist magnet Cape Town and the scenic White Lines is a hot spot for murder and plagued by gang turf wars and retaliatory attacks. According to reports, 2 men aged 25 and 33 were shot and killed in a 5 a.m. attack in the neighboring sprawling area of Hanover Park. On the foreign scene, the U.S. has lifted sanctions on Delcy Rodriguez, Venezuela's interim president, in a significant shift following the ouster of Nicolas Maduro. In a significant shift following the ouster of Nicolas Maduro, the move comes as relations between Washington and Caracas begin to thaw, with Rodriguez taking steps to open the country's energy sector to U.S. companies after assuming power earlier this year. Ties between Washington and Caracas have warmed since Maduro's ouster, with Rodriguez complying with President Donald Trump's demand for Caracas to open up its energy industry to American companies. Rodriguez served as Maduro's deputy and was sanctioned by Washington for being a key official in his government, alongside officials including former Defense Minister Vladimir Pedrino Lopez and Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello. Rodriguez fired Lopez in mid-March, but she has been walking a fine line between demands from Washington and those from her own backers since Maduro's toppling. Still on the foreign scene, Moscow is demanding that Russian French national Anna Novikova be freed after she was detained in France last year on suspicion of espionage. Novikova is suspected of trying to obtain information about French economic interests. Novikova, the founder of a humanitarian organization which said it provided aid to people living in Russian-controlled parts of Ukraine, is one of 3 people who the Paris prosecutor's office said in November were suspected of spying on behalf of a foreign power. French prosecutors said she was suspected of approaching executives of French companies to obtain information about French economic interest. Still to come in the news. Osimhen reacts as Victor Boniface returns to training. Do stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned in now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the World Bank has approved a $500 million International Development Association credit to boost Nigeria's agricultural sector under a new program targeting smallholder farmers, value chains, and food security. The funding will support the Nigeria Sustainable Agricultural Value Chains for Growth project, also known as AGRO, which aims to improve productivity, strengthen market linkages, and create jobs across the country. The approval date for the loan project was disclosed as March 30, 2026, as earlier reported. Regarding the loan, the global lender noted that the agriculture remains Nigeria's largest employer but continues to underperform due to structural constraints. Still in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the successful completion of its banking sector recapitalization program, revealing that 33 banks have met the revised minimum capital requirement after raising a combined 4.65 trillion naira. This is contained in a statement jointly signed by the CBN's Director of Banking Supervision, Olubukola Akinwumi, and Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Hakama Sidi Ali, on Wednesday. The exercise, which began in March 2024 and lasted 24 months, drew significant participation from both domestic and foreign investors, underlining sustained confidence in Nigeria's financial system. According to the financial regulator, 72.55% of the funds were sourced locally, while 27.45% came from international markets. CBN Governor Laimi Kadoso said the program has positioned the banking sector for greater resilience and economic support. On our health news, the Kwara State Primary Health Care Development Agency has reaffirmed its commitment to safe and effective immunization, dismissing as false claims circulating across the state that vaccines administered to children are harmful. In a statement issued by the agency's press secretary Bukola Abdul Ganiyu, the executive secretary, Professor Nusirat Elelu, made the clarification. Elelu described the allegations as misleading, dangerous, and capable of undermining public health efforts aimed at protecting children from preventable diseases. In sports, Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen has reacted to Victor Boniface's return to training at Werder Bremen. Boniface returned to training on Wednesday, having recently recovered from a knee injury. He has been out of action for 3 months after he underwent a right knee cartilage surgery. In a post on X, Boniface posted a picture of himself training alone in the pitch at Werder Bremen. On entertainment news, Afrobeat singer Omar Stanley Didier, popularly known as Omar Lay, has opened up about his views on relationship dynamics in the Nigerian music industry, revealing that the industry is full of egos. Speaking in a recent episode of the Nado Leaks podcast, Omar Lay explained that he has a weird personality and does not seek external validations, which makes him comfortable with having a small circle. He said the only friends he has are those who understand him. He noted that he is reserved but has a large ego. The singer added that he tries to be humble sometimes because he believes large ego can hinder progress. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do well to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng, Spectrum Television News at noon, UIMM. Good afternoon.